Welcome to Frank Staiano Explains. What I'm going to explain today is how does the Cambridge system work. My primary audience is that of young people who are thinking where they're going to go to university, and maybe one of the things they're considering is Cambridge, and they want to know more about that. Okay, hang on. And my secondary audience is other people who are not thinking of going to university. Maybe they've already been to university, maybe they are in some other university, or maybe well past that time, but are still curious. They've heard about the strange terminology in Cambridge, the colleges and university, how's that difference and so on. They just want to figure out how stuff works. So the first thing I want to explain is this business of university and colleges and departments. And in America, for example, you say I go to college to mean go to university. And so what's the difference? Second thing I want to explain is this business of supervisions, which is a peculiar Cambridge thing, which doesn't exist in very many other places. And the third thing is what else happens at university besides teaching, besides the lectures and the supervisions. So, for number one, the university, colleges, departments. The University of Cambridge is made of 31 colleges and also of a great number of departments, of the order of 100 departments. I don't know the exact figure. Departments are topic-based entities, such as Department of Computer Science and Technology. That's my department. Department of mathematics, history, politics, zoology, medicine, that kind of stuff. So that's where expertise in a certain topic is concentrated. The colleges are not topic-based. They are houses where the students live. Every student has to be a member of a college in order to be at the University of Cambridge as a student. And the college is the entity that admits the student for studies. It's not the university that admits you, that gives you a place. The college gives you a place, and then you can be at the University of Cambridge as a student. The college is where you eat your meals, the college is where you sleep, and the college is where you are academically looked after in individual fashion. So you have a matrix structure where the rows of this matrix are the departments, so Department of Computer Science and Technology, then history, then mathematics, then politics, then medicine, and so on. And the columns are instead the colleges, Trinity College, St. John's College, King's College, and so on. And so in every department you will find students from all the colleges, and in every college you will find students who go to the various departments. Why is this great? Because in most other places in the world that don't have this structure, like where I was an undergraduate, which was not at Cambridge, I only came to Cambridge for my PhD as a mature student. When I was an undergraduate, I was in a place where, like in most other places in the world, I go to the Department of Engineering. All I see for all these years is other engineers, nothing else. So this can be somewhat narrowly focused. In Cambridge, you may go to get an engineering degree. You see engineers while you are going to the lectures in the Department of Engineering, but you then go to lunch to your own college, and at lunch with your friends, the ones sitting next to you don't have to be only engineers. They can be doing other subjects, any other subject, medicine, history, politics, literature, and anything else that will then broaden your mind and remind you that there exist other things than just the one you're studying very assiduously as your own university topic. This is great, first of all, just to broaden your horizon, to understand that what you do is not the most important thing in the world. And secondly, for building a network that will be invaluable later in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You are going to be at the top of your career in your field, and you will still have friendships from when you were 20 years old that you built in your college with other friends who are by then also at the top of their career in some other fields, and these connections are going to be extremely powerful, and you should not underestimate the value of being able to make friends with other extremely smart people who are not from your field at the time when you're all just naive 20 years old, because believe me, all of you are going to be great by the time you're 40 or 50 or earlier, why not? So that was university and colleges. Second thing I wanted to talk about was the supervisions, lectures versus supervisions. So in the morning, students will go to a lecture that's offered by someone from the department. So in my role as an employee of my department, I am a so-called university teaching officer. There's various flavors, lecturer, senior lecturer, reader, and professor, and they have recently changed the terminology to something that's more similar to what is done in other places with assistant professor, associate professor, and professor, but that's topic for some other video. I won't go into that. Anyway, the teaching officer, the one who gives the lecture, is acting in a role where they depend from the department, and in this lecture theatre there are students from all the colleges, and I can't tell the difference between someone from this college or this other college. I just give my lecture to everyone the same. I mean, in this case, this year I'm doing that by video, so it's even more detached. But anyway, when I'm in the lecture theatre, I see all these lovely students, but I have no idea who's from what college. These students, at the end of the morning, go back to their respective colleges for lunch and to socialize with their friends. But of course, they then study, and that study, that individual study, is supported by the college through supervisions. Supervisions are a kind of private lesson where just a pair of students, it's usually 2 students, sometimes 3 students, sometimes just 1, depends on circumstances, but mostly 2 students, are studying together for another hour with an expert in the field. So I may be teaching a class on algorithms. There's going to be an expert in algorithms who looks after a pair of students in the afternoon, and the students can then ask the questions that they couldn't ask during the lecture, because the lecture is compressed, there's too many people, and it would not be feasible to run the lecture if you were constantly interrupted by questions from students. But the students may have a question, legitimate question, and they can ask the question in the afternoon when they're looked after individually by their supervisor. So the supervisor is appointed by the supervisor may be a member of the college, but doesn't have to be. They are, however, appointed by a fellow of the college. So I'm a fellow of Trinity College. So in Trinity College, one of my duties is to decide on a good specialist who will supervise each pair of my students within the subject that they study in the morning. And every subject has fellows who look after students in this way. This role is called the direction of studies. In Trinity we have 3 directors of studies in my subject, so we collaborate on all that stuff. And sometimes we also give supervisions ourselves to some of the students from our own college. Not all colleges do that. Anyway, the students can, in that context, ask questions, and the supervisors themselves will ask questions on the hard part of the course to make sure that the students are not missing out. Did you really get that? Let me see. Try and solve this problem. Let's see how you get on with this. There's a subtlety here, and I want to make sure you didn't miss that. And so the students are challenged beyond what they would do on their own by the stimulus of the supervisor, and also by the fact that they are next to another smart person in their supervision pair who's kind of doing their best, and that itself can be powerful incentive and stimulus. So supervisions are individualized tuition that you get from your college. And the third thing I wanted to talk about, what was it? Yes, the fact that people who are not part of the university thing and say, yeah, you're You work at the university, so what you do, all you do, their mental image, all you do is just, you give lectures, you teach students, and then there's exams, and then you give degrees, and that's it. And that's your work. Well, no, that's some important part of my work, but not all of it, and not even necessarily the most important. As you know, Cambridge is famous for being the institution in the world with the greatest number of Nobel Prizes. They don't give out Nobel Prizes for giving great lectures. The stuff that matters in the academic ranking, academic hierarchy, in the way that universities compare themselves against each other, is not who gives the best lectures, is who does the best research. That's the kind of stuff that you get Nobel Prizes and other recognitions for. And the promotion for academic staff is based on research. So at the lowest level, from lecturer to senior lecturer, teaching is important. But beyond that, if you want to go to the next stages, which are reader, professor, and recently Cambridge changed these names to things that are more similar to what's used elsewhere in the world, such as just full professor, associate professor, and assistant professor. And that's also matter for some other day. But the point is that the progression to the highest grades of this scale is not based on your teaching. It is assumed that if you are teaching at Cambridge, your lectures are great. But to be promoted to the top, it is your research that has to be outstanding. And you get to the second highest level by demonstrating that there is international recognition for your research. And you get to the very top level by demonstrating that there is recognition of established international leadership for your research. You don't get promoted to those levels on the basis of your lectures. So why does it matter for the undergraduate students? It matters because the people who are teaching you, their career aim is to be great in research. So in their field, they want to be recognized as international leaders, so they become full professors. So this means the stuff they teach you in their subject, where they are specialists, is not simply, they take the textbook, they read the pages, they regurgitate, which anybody could do. They are the people who invent the new stuff that's going to end up written up in the next textbook that someone writes after they've invented it. So you get to hear it from the horse's mouth. You get to hear it from people who are actively involved in pushing the boundaries of the field. And this is why it's exciting to be a student at Cambridge. You get first-hand access to the people who are contributing to building and advancing their respective field. Of course, this happens in every university that has a research presence. It happens particularly at Cambridge. And Cambridge is the Silicon Valley of Europe. So a number of colleagues in my field have actually even started companies in computing. I have started two. One is still going. And so you get this buzz of I'm being taught not just by someone who read the textbook, but by someone who's invented new stuff, who's made new discoveries, and who's actually brought this stuff to fruition by taking it to market. And so this can be quite inspiring for students, to the point that we have now several students who start their own company while they're finishing their undergraduate degree. In fact, the structure I described earlier, with access to colleagues from other disciplines, can be a great help, because you may be a techie if you're the kind of students I would teach, but you may then make friends through your college with someone who's smart in finance, or with someone who's smart in human relationships and people and PR and leadership and all that kind of stuff. And you need all these different traits to make a great team for a startup. And believe me, when you are building a startup, it's really difficult to get all these different kinds of personalities and roles and skills all in one place. And if you are already friends because of your belonging to the same college and meeting each other socially and so on, and going to balls in dinner jacket and gown and all that stuff, then it's a great fishing pool for the talent of your own company. If you're inspired by the fact that people 1 year ahead of you have started their own company, the teacher who taught you in the morning has started their own company, and so I say, well, why not me? And actually, there's these friends that I'm get along so well with, we could do that ourselves. And if you do that, please don't drop out. Get your degree and continue your company, but don't just give up on your coursework too early, because you will be much stronger in whatever you do if you first finish the stuff that you were studying and get and build your company on top of having the competence that comes from your Cambridge degree. But that's an aside. So, in summary, the 3 things. What's the business with colleges and departments? Departments, colleges. 2, what's the business with supervisions? Departments will give you a lecture for everyone, and your college will give you personalized tuition just for you, and we'll look after you personally, individually. It's very difficult to get into Cambridge, but once you're in your college, we'll look after you like a mother hen, and we'll make sure that you can do the best with your talents. And practically almost nobody fails in Cambridge. In other places, like where I was an undergraduate, anybody could get in, and most people failed in the first year. In Cambridge, practically nobody fails in the first or second or third year. Practically everybody gets a degree at the end. It's very difficult to get in, but then the college has made a big investment in you and will make damn sure that you have every possible opportunity to shine and get out of it proudly with a degree. And number 3, it is not the case that university is just about teaching. University is also very importantly about research. And if you are coming for the teaching, but you are being taught by people who are strong in research, then you're going to have a fantastic experience, because you're going to get it firsthand from the people who are actually doing it. And this is very exciting. Of course, you can then decide to go into applications, to go into academic career yourself. And again, this is going to be probably the subject for another video. You have to tell me if you like this type of videos as opposed to the ones where I just go into the nitty-gritty details of something I didn't lecture, or maybe just do exercise and so on. If you want the broader spectrum of this, you like this type of video, and stick a like on it, subscribe to the channel for more, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comments. I appreciate your view. Thank you very much. See you next time.